They called him weak, a fragile creature from a blue planet filled with emotion and fragility. A being unfit for war, unworthy of survival among the stars. Yet when Commander Tarax first laid eyes on him, standing among towering armored warriors of the Zelor Dominion, the human merely blinked, unflinching, and said nothing. No one expected that within him hid a fire forged not in muscle, but in relentless spirit and earthborn discipline. When combat training began in the Dominion's gravity-forged arena, the human's movements, first sluggish under triple gravity, slowly adapted, his muscles screaming in silence as he mimicked, learned, evolved. Where others flexed brute force, he wielded precision. A byproduct of 1,000 years of Earth's martial legacy compressed into a single frame. By day 5, the instructors paused to watch as he disarmed a 6-limbed Varkari without drawing blood, using momentum and leverage instead of violence. By day 10, murmurs spread across the compound that the fragile one moved like liquid steel, flowing through attacks with uncanny calm. Commander Tarax, once amused by the human's frailty, now watched with tightened jaw as his most elite trainees fell. Not humiliated but stunned by the quiet efficiency of this soft-skinned warrior. And somewhere deep within the alien's chest plate, a flicker of respect began to burn. By week 2, the whispers had become roars. Aliens of every rank gathered in the shadows of the observation decks to witness the impossible. A human not only surviving but outpacing species genetically engineered for war. And as each day passed, the line between anomaly and legend blurred. During a simulated raid, the human, known now only by his call sign Ghost, led a squad of 3 through a labyrinth of holographic threats designed to break minds and bodies, yet emerged first, untouched, his voice steady as he relayed every calculated move to the Dominion's war AI, outperforming it by a full 0.8 seconds, something no soldier had ever done. He wasn't just learning their tactics, he was decoding their weaknesses, adapting faster than their systems could predict, and it unsettled them deeply. Commander. Tarax confronted him after the session, staring into the calm, unblinking eyes of Ghost, expecting pride, arrogance, anything, but instead found a focused silence that seemed to weigh more than any boast. "Why do you fight?" he demanded, and the human answered, "Because where I come from, survival isn't granted by birth or strength. It's earned, one scar at a time." And in that moment, something ancient stirred in the war-hardened commander, a memory of struggle, of honor untainted by domination. The training escalated, introducing chaos protocols, shifting gravity, hallucination triggers, psychic pressure waves, all of which only seemed to sharpen Ghost's mind, his instincts burning through the noise like a blade. His fellow trainees, once dismissive, now followed his lead, mimicking his footwork, begging for sparring matches just to learn how he moved so freely in a world designed to crush him. The elite caste grew uneasy, for if one human could reach this level in mere weeks, what if there were more? What if Earth held legions of such minds hidden beneath humble skin? Rumors reached the High Conclave, and surveillance intensified. But even their hidden eyes couldn't deny what they saw. Ghost breaking limits, redefining possibility, not with rage, but with relentless, quiet will. When the Dominion initiated the Apex Gauntlet, a final test meant only for their most legendary warriors, it was expected Ghost would falter. But instead, he stepped into the blood-lit arena with a calm breath, faced the towering biomech opponent 3 times his size, and dismantled it with a blend of Earth-style misdirection and alien technique, a hybrid form born of necessity and sheer human tenacity. By the time the mech fell, knees crushed, optics sparking, the silence in the arena was louder than any roar. Tarax did not cheer. He saluted, fist to chest, acknowledging not just a fighter but a force of nature, one that had reshaped the definition of strength without ever asking for recognition. And as the human stood still beneath the dying lights, battle-worn yet unbroken, the galaxy took notice. Earth was not to be underestimated, and this was only the beginning. After the Apex Gauntlet, Ghost's legend spread beyond the Dominion's borders, leaking into outlaw comm channels, pirate fleets, and resistance cells who had long believed the Zelor Dominion to be an unshakable force. Now, they whispered of a human who moved like wind and struck like thunder, A warrior born not from augmentation or cloning vats but from raw, earned experience. Diplomatic envoys requested audiences, generals studied his battle footage frame by frame, and distant warlords sent scouts to verify if Earth had bred others like him. But Ghost remained within the Dominion's highest facility, not as a prisoner, but as a guest, though in truth even that label was insufficient, for he had become something else entirely. An anomaly in their system, a variable they couldn't control or predict. Tirax, now assigned as his direct overseer, found himself grappling with strange thoughts, admiration warring with unease, especially after Ghost requested access to Dominion archives, not for rest or recognition, but to learn their history, their wars, their mistakes. When asked why, he replied simply, "To understand what made you blind to your own flaws." And that response rippled through the military hierarchy like a data quake. During a wargame simulation, Ghost was given command over a hybrid unit, a mix of Dominion, allied species, and AI drones, and in 27 minutes, he executed a strategy that cornered an entire fleet 3 times the size of his, using terrain, decoys, and psychology like weapons, predicting enemy movement down to the second. The observers initially believed it was AI-assisted until they found the neural dampeners on his console still active. Disabling all algorithmic help, he had done it alone with pen, map, and mind. Soon, Dominion tacticians who had mocked him were quoting his patterns, modifying drills to match his logic, while alien cadets mimicked his breathing techniques to survive stress tests. He didn't just fight differently, he thought differently, as though warfare was not chaos but a language he spoke natively. Still, Ghost remained distant, never boastful, always watching, always listening, as though each victory revealed a deeper layer of something he couldn't name yet. When a rogue faction of rebel Zelor generals attempted a coup using prototype battle drones, the Dominion called on its elite guard, but Ghost volunteered before they could answer, slipping through the corridors like smoke, dismantling a dozen warbots with nothing but a combat knife, stolen access codes, and timing so perfect it felt scripted. By the time reinforcements arrived, he was already waiting, leaning against the wall, blade sheathed, eyes unreadable. Tirax confronted him again, asking why he risked himself for a government that once ridiculed him. And Ghost only said, "Because power unearned is power misused. I've seen how that ends." And for the first time, Tirax saw not a soldier, but a philosopher draped in war. His presence had begun to shift the core of Dominion philosophy, challenging not just tactics, but values, exposing flaws in their training, gaps in their ethics. He had become their mirror, and they weren't sure if they admired or feared the reflection. By week 6, Ghost was granted unrestricted access, an honor never before given to a non-Dominion being. And yet, he requested only one thing: a communication relay to Earth, not for extraction, but for information. He wanted literature, science, stories, culture, because in his words, to beat an empire you don't need more fire, you need a stronger idea. And that idea began to spread. Soon, alien recruits requested Earth-based texts for mental training. Commanders began to simulate his philosophies into advanced doctrine, and whispers grew louder that perhaps Earth wasn't a backwater. It was a forge, and Ghost was its first blade. Plans were drawn for him to instruct at the Dominion's War Academy, but before they could finalize it, Ghost vanished. No alarms, no traces. Only a message carved into the reinforced steel wall of his chamber. The real war isn't fought in arenas, it's fought in minds. I'm going where I'm needed. And with that, the Dominion was left shaken, not by his absence, but by the possibility that somewhere, out in the stars, Ghost was planting the seeds of a new kind of resistance, one not built on power, but purpose.